Crimea. A big island underneath of Ukraine, controlled by Russia, but internationally recognized as part of Ukraine. Russia felt heartbroken after seeing Ukraine made friends with the Western world. For her, Ukraine had cheated. So, she quietly convinced Crimea and proclaimed it as part of her. This move shocked the entire world, especially Ukraine, who wanted Crimea back. But Russia says,
"You've cheated on me. I'm taking Crimea back. He's mine."
Give him back! He's mine!
And they pulled Crimea back and forth, hurting him. Behind them, a ghost of Soviet Union looked down at both and thought, "I thought giving him Crimea will make them friends, but I was wrong." To answer why Soviet gave Crimea to Ukraine, let's start with the history, shall we? Crimea used to be an independent state named Crimean Khanate until Russian Empire went to war with Ottoman Empire, which ended with the Khanate became Russia's client state, and then became part of Russia in 1783. In 1856, Russia and Ottoman went into a fight again. Reason? First, Russia wanted more land. Second, he wanted to protect the Orthodox's right of holy sites. The Ottoman was weak, taking his lands would be a piece of cake. But then, UK and France came to the rescue. Together with Ottoman, they invaded Crimea and put Russia's expansion into a halt. Despite being lost in a war, Crimea firmly remained in Russians' hand. Crimea changed hands numerous times during Russian Civil War and soon became the last stronghold for anti-Bolshevik forces. Nevertheless, the Red Army had made a breakthrough, and Crimea later soon became a part of newly born Soviet Union. 20 years later, Soviet Union broke up with Nazi Germany and became enemy later on. Germany then launched the Operation Barbarossa with aim of giving Germans more place to live and to Germanize the East or put them in forced labor. Germany would soon take Crimea and stayed there for 3 years until Soviet taking him back in 1944. Crimea later became a part of Russian SFSR in 1945. The Crimean Tatars were forced to left their homes, as Soviet believed that some of them had collaborated with the enemy. The Tatars would not allow to return home until the fall of Soviet Union. In 1954, Russia gave him back to Ukrainian SSR via a decree from the Presidium of the Supreme Soviet. In 1991, Ukraine declared independence from Soviet Union, taking Crimea along with him. And Russia took Crimea back in 2014. Resulting a peninsula to become a disputed land between Russia and Ukraine. Okay, that's enough for short history. So let's answer that question, shall we? The first reason is to celebrate the 300th anniversary of Treaty of Pereyaslav. Although it had no connection with Crimea, but it does had something with Ukraine. Ukraine, or Cossack Hetmanate of that time, was constantly under threat from Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. So they called Russia for protection in exchange for them to sworn loyalty to the Tsar. After defeat Poland in 1667, Cossack Hetmanate would soon become a part of Russian Empire. This treaty was portrayed by Communist Party as the major step of Russia and Ukraine's unification. However, it would take some time through multiple violence before Russia and Ukraine would consider themselves brothers. The second one is about Khrushchev himself. Khrushchev loves Ukraine. He grew up in Ukraine, first Secretary of Ukraine, and he could not become a leader of the Soviet without support from a leader of Ukrainian Communist Party. For him, giving Crimea to Ukraine is like giving love gift to his lover. The third reason is related to both economic and political. Crimea had the poorest water resources in Europe. His half of settlements lacked of fresh water and could not plant anything without additional irrigation. The idea to construct the canal was raised in the 19th century, but did not begin until the 50s, alongside with the hydroelectric dam on the Dnieper River. Additionally, there's a desire for administration of Ukraine to be under one body. Other reasons would be the integration of Ukraine and Crimea's economy, repopulate Crimea with Slavic people, and to maintain the Russian Black Sea Fleet in Sevastopol. And the final one is to unify the Russian and Ukrainian people. By transferring the peninsula, we'll bound Ukraine closer to Russia and bring Russians and Ukrainians closer together, resulting in a great benefit to both politically and economically. And these are the reasons on why Soviet gave Crimea to Ukraine.